up guys, Jake Tech here, back with another video, and today we are quickly taking a look at the Phanteks Evolve Shift 2. This is a ITX form factor case made by Phanteks, and this is the second iteration of the Phanteks Evolve Shift. And they also do have the Shift X, which is a much taller variant. So this is the smaller form factor Evolve Shift 2. So first impressions when I unboxed this thing, I was very impressed. I've always been really intrigued by the design of this case, and I just love the looks of it. And it looks even cooler to see in person, so I'm really excited about building in this case and having it here. The build quality, as always with Phanteks, is extremely high quality. And from the first looks of it, everything seems to be extremely well thought out. Like most Phanteks products, you do get a full colored instruction guide that comes in handy when it comes to orienting certain components. But as you can see, it's in full color, so Phanteks really goes above and beyond on the details. You also get the accessory box that they include, which has all of your case hardware. So they include a really nice box, some zip ties, and all that stuff you'll need to build in this case. So as far as how this case kind of comes apart and how it's assembled, you pull it out of the box, it'll look just like this, except you'll have your hardware box inside. But if you want to strip this case down and get the panels off, it is a 4-section chassis. So you have your front panel, 2 glass panels, and then a rear panel on the back. And you can take these off by popping the top of this. And the top also, while we're here, the top includes like your motherboard I/O and the I/O for your GPU. So I really like the way they did this, and then they also have it to where this top lid snaps into place very nicely. And it also has your RGB, power, and reset buttons up there. So really nice spring-loaded door. So, and then up here also you have you'll have 2 thumb screws for each of the side panels, whether they're tempered glass or whether they're the aluminum panels on the front or back. So they're held in by 2 captive thumb screws. So you'll just undo those and pop whatever panel you want off. So it's really easy to remove, and I'll show you guys that right now. And as you can see, these side panels come off really easy. So this is the side where we'll have our motherboard. So the motherboard will be up in this section. We have our PCIe riser cable for the graphics card. So basically this will plug into our motherboard on this side, and then the riser cable reaches around back of the motherboard, and that's where the graphics card gets mounted. Right here we have a little bit of cable management cover going on. This pops off just magnetically. So you can route all sorts of cables here on this bottom bracket, and it does have a little Velcro strap in there as well, so you can secure all the cables along the bottom. And then when you want to cover that up, you can just apply this cover and it'll look really nice. On the bottom here, this is where you'll have your power supply and potentially another fan or a radiator. This is where you'll plug in your power supply. Then it'll route it to the back of this side over here. A little different that they have this PSU routing cable go across the case. So usually those will get mounted down here at the bottom, and your tubes will get run up. A lot of times they made this gap big enough to where you can run them through here onto your CPU. But I think there is potentially room for another 120 millimeter radiator if you have a water-cooled graphics card that has like a built-in AIO. So I think there is support for that. It might be a little bit tight, but I think you can mount it somewhere in here. At the bottom here too, we do have support for another fan at the very bottom, so that's a good place to put an intake fan, so you have air coming up through the chassis So if we flip this case around, I do have the other glass panel removed. This is where we will mount our graphics card. We have our PCIe riser cable that stretches around back, and this is where it'll get mounted. And then, like I mentioned, you'll have all your GPU I/O up here at the top, which makes it pretty easy to access and pretty convenient, as all you got to do is just pop the top. And if you do have cables coming out of, which obviously you'll have some cables coming out, whether it's your display cables or something coming from the motherboard, you do have a nice convenient routing hole up at the top here, so you can just route them out the back and it'll look super clean. From the looks of it, this case appears to only have enough room for a dual slot graphics card, so triple slot card might be a little bit tight, and it doesn't look like the I/O will support that, but they might make another plate that does. I'm not sure. So taking off the front panel, like I said, all 4 panels are removable. I just have 3 removed right now. So you can route cables through there. And on this front side, you actually do have a caddy for a couple of 2.5-inch drives or SSDs. And you can actually move this from the bottom here to the top if you prefer. And I believe each of these caddies actually holds 2.5-inch hard drives, which is really nice. So you can have quite a few drives in here. In total, if you purchase another caddy, you can get about 4 drives. And just depending on what your motherboard support is for SATA, you could have a total of 4 SATA SSDs in here. So as far as the differences go between this Phanteks Evolve Shift 2 and the original Evolve Shift, I believe there's just a couple of differences. One of the main ones being they ported the back panel for extra cooling. Before, it was just a solid panel, and whether it was intake or exhaust, the only airflow would move through the sides here. So they ended up porting the entire back with these slots, which gives it a really cool look and does improve cooling performance. Another thing they changed was your case, your front I/O. You used to have 2 USB 3.0 ports on the side here. They actually moved those to the bottom now. One final thing to note about this case that I didn't remember when I filmed this video is the interior orientation has been flipped about 180 degrees. So before you would have your graphics card on the right side of the case. It's now over on the left side of the case, and the graphics card itself has also been flipped, so the fans will actually face out towards the glass if you're running a air-cooled graphics card, or if you're running a water-cooled graphics card, the bottom of it will be showing on that left side of the case. So overall, guys, I'm super impressed with this case. Can't wait to build in it. So this is a rig that we're actually going to be building for my sister. It's going to be mostly for photo editing, a little bit of video editing, and maybe a little bit of gaming here and there too. So we're not going to go super specs heavy on the hardware. We're just going to put in what will do really well and get her by. And we're kind of limited on hardware right now with availability, especially on graphics cards. So I think what we're going to be doing is a RTX 2060 Founders Edition for the graphics card. It's one I have, the one that I had in my Ncase M1 build. So I think we'll be using that for the GPU. And then for the CPU, I think we're going to go with a Ryzen 2600X. I know there's definitely better Ryzen CPUs out there right now, but they're a little bit more money. And I think the 2600X will do just fine having 6 cores, 12 threads for what she needs. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this gave you a decent first look on the Phanteks Evolve Shift 2. Maybe if you didn't know some of the variations or changes they made on this case versus the original Evolve Shift. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of insight on that and what this case is all about. We're definitely going to get into this case a lot deeper as we start building in it, and I'll be able to give more of a full review and user experience of what it's like to build in this case. But overall, I think it'll be pretty straightforward. It is different from a lot of other cases, having the graphics card oriented behind the motherboard, But I think it's really cool, and I think Phanteks, from the looks of it, really designed it well, and it's very intuitive to build in from what I can see. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more tech-related videos like this one, be sure to subscribe. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.